Hello and welcome to this first introduction practice video. Thanks for watching and joining me. Thanks for taking an interest in numbers, sequential growth, and the architecture of reality. I mean, I'm not quite sure even what I'm going to present this as, but I know that it's going to go along with, sorry for the glare, this workbook. I should have probably took the front. The front comes off, and so it wouldn't even glare. That's probably better. This one I'm just using as a reference because this is two different books in one here. It has like part one and then part two. Some of it is about personality, numerology, and then the other part of it is about sequential growth. And I'm going to be, sorry, I just noticed this light is like not that great. Whatever, it is what it is. My camera's working, so I'm going with it. And I've been thinking and trying to get a way to put these videos together and start going on teach learning more about sequential growth and these fundamental building blocks, because I think the more that I use them and teach them, and I learn more about it as well, and it helps in the later stages. You know, it's like remembering and working on your memory with multiplication tables, with quick sums, you know, in your head, because it makes your mathematical thinking quicker when you do larger equations, or you're doing, you know, anything of more algebraic or or whatever. You know, you're thinking of life in a quadratic way. I make stupid math jokes. No, I'm not gonna do this all the time, I promise. I'm gonna try my hardest not to be cheesy. That's a big one for me. Big promise. That aside, thanks for joining me. My name is Allie with Amory Speaks, and this video is going to go up on YouTube, so I sort of should have made a little bit of a better introduction. But this, like I said, is practice round for myself, sort of, to what my introduction will look like for just the video that I'll leave as a subset to go with the workbook and courses that I'm doing on numbers. I have found it, and I'll be honest with anyone who cares to listen is you know, here, thank you for listening to me. It's so difficult to create condensed short video without a whole lead up, and just to do the content. Just, you know, I'm thinking anyone who does that, any creators out there who are really good at that, you know, they've got a certain skill that I don't, for sure, because I can't do anything short and to the point, you know. So now I'm really noticing that. So I'm hoping by doing this kind of video here, I am airing it out a bit for myself as well, so that I can get down to the bare bones of it when I sit down for just that short video that will go along with sort of the video course, you know. And those you assume people are gonna watch sequentially and learn with, so you don't need a whole lead up. This is gonna go on YouTube, and in all of the days in the future to come, anyone would just stumble upon it, you know. I'm not sure if I'll put the course on YouTube or not. I haven't decided. Not that I would charge for it or anything like that. I would have it for freely offered, somehow different than that. I don't know if I'll jam them into one whole thing, or I don't know how it'll happen. But my hopes is to present it in a way that it would be watched, and I wouldn't have lead up like this. I wouldn't have an introduction like, I'm Allie, thanks for watching my video. It would just be like, I would be assuming people would be in the course, would be going along with it, and just on the topics that's in there. But we'll see what happens. Who knows? But it's so fun. I found this sort of teach learning, sharing, getting feedback from others, and then also just the the potential being built there, that interaction with others, and that who knows who will see it or who will take it into their own world even and make it work for them, in a different way. I just think these talking about numbers, talking about the fundamentals, talking and highlighting, bringing back up to the surface all the truths we all know. I'm not trying to claim a name, whatever the phrase is, to this. The knowledge that's in here, I feel like it's divinely bestowed right to all of mankind to understand this kind of information. I think we're cognitive creator consciousness. I think this stuff comes from within us because we are fractal source pieces of God's source, and we have divine intelligence bestowed upon us. So being these metaphysical representations, these prismatic, wonderful expressions of infinite intelligence that we are, we can utilize the building blocks in any way that we want to and make wonderful things. It's like when we all have Play-Doh at school as kindergartners. If we could all pretend to be kindergartners again, this is the funnest thing to do for me. And extend it all out to anyone to try to practice in a flexible imagination space for themselves, even as a grown adult, to remember yourself as a kindergartner, small child, and envision others like that, and try to remember when you were innocent and welcoming and wholehearted, more or less, without, you don't have to go into, and I am one to even have been priorly fall into immediate grooves and these things, repetitive, habitual, negative programmings and trauma and all these things. And, we can leave that at the door here. We are stepping into the new age where we all accept that this world of prison planet, absolute crap show. We've all been absolutely abused, no matter what has happened to you, that you're on this planet. I guarantee you it has happened to you, because it's the playscape is rampant with that through the last couple of decades and generations. And so we could all just leave our baggage at the door and know that each one of us is a sovereign, wonderful warrior of light and love, and that we deserve to be here simply because we're looking out of our eyes and we have the conscious receptivity to understand that we want to be here and that we are here. Lights are not turned on everywhere. But for those of us who are on and we're here, let's do what we're here and talk about what I want to talk about today with numbers. Get down to it. I guess I've gone my typical 5 to 10 minute ramble at the start to get down to business. If you're interested in, I do have this, like I said, this one's 2 parts. It's already done. It's ready made. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty, got a lot of pages to it. I have some like generalities at the front, about sequential growth, which is what I'm kind of going to talk about in a minute. So, won't really go over that. When I'm actually making a better one now, which is why I'm kind of like, yeah, it's kind of cool. This is what it is. I won't really, if you want it, be interested in it. I have found that I need to separate out personality numerology from sequential growth completely. And just because it's not to say that personality numerology isn't relevant. It is good to know. Lots of people are interested in it, in fact, and if you are, I highly suggest just listening here first and understanding about the phases of sequential growth, because they're the rudimentary seeds that blossom into the numbers of numerology. What we see depicted as archetypes and personality traits that come through as the 1, 2, through all the numbers. And I do some of the master numbers in this book as well. I also have some kind of cool templates at the back that of like what I used to use or would use. I mean, I haven't done charts in a little while, and but for anyone who would like to do a chart on themselves or with someone else, I gave some little like templates. You could even copy those Sorry, and now my screensaver goes on. But it's just like a gridded spot. My light's kind of not that great today because the light from outside is overbearing. Anyways, if you are totally interested in numerology, as in personality charts and projections and understanding others and relationships and compatibilities and things like that, it's totally a slice of the pie, you know. And like here, welcome to it. I can send anybody a PDF of it who'd like it. You could print it at your own expense, of course, if you wanted to, or just look at it, or print the pages that you're interested in even and make your own copies of it. Or better yet, make your own versions. Don't even just use this as a little idea reference board to bounce off of and go with what feels right to you. Which is why I share these things anyways, you know. I really, and again, like I said, I don't need, you know, this isn't really my knowledge that's special to me. I have an accumulation of references over the years, and I'm going to build a site reference source of people. I have some on my website, amariespeaks.com, over in the numerology tab and in astrology as well. You'll find links to some of the peoples that over the years I've really liked. I haven't been as up to date and switch around and as on my website as I wished to be. My intentions are to be, but I just at the same time I don't have the capacity to, because I have a full life, you know, a life that's off of screens and the computer, and so I have just some amount of time to be on the computer, and other things like making the video and stuff is take up my time. Anyways, oh my gosh, here we are 12 minutes in and I haven't even started on sequential growth. Anyways, thank you for bearing with me and for learning with me and coping, I'm sure. Sequential growth in itself is such a large topic. I've done a couple of podcast brainstorm sessions already around it. I put some of them up. I haven't aired some of them just because I'm so repetitive, and it is the same kind of, it's repetition. It sounds like repetition almost, except that there's this like onion layer peel back of clarity that happens with each layer. And if you really don't care to witness it and it's not of interest to you, it really looks all the same. Or you could do it all very quickly and it doesn't matter even, you know. Just like peeling an onion, you could just, if people, you know, peel it very quickly, or you could take your time, you know, even though obviously the whole make your eyes water thing kind of, you don't probably want to take your time. It's a bad analogy. But this is what this kind of understanding, this kind of metaphysical understanding can be like. And for some people, it's just, you know, I could understand how it wouldn't be of interest, or might seem a bit all the same. But I feel like there's, in routine, in sameness, in repetition, we actually find these small gradients of changes, these tinier nuances. We learn how to zoom in our attention with intention, you know, and focus more and create through our mind, through our imagination, through our heart center and love even, and the real creator consciousness sort of power that we have. I think it's like, you know, it's turning it on. It's building its muscle. It's working it out. We have this capability of adding more nuances, of adding meaning, of purpose, of beauty, of seeing something different, catching, you know, being able to catch something different in something. So that's my hope with why and what I'm teaching here. But at the same time, I kind of understand that it's not that important either. It does, certain parts of it really will help, and to have the zooming in and zooming out understanding of where on the number line we are and what you're choosing to zoom into and create more with, I think is really important. And also knowing the stages and phases. Like I said, we all know these things, but to have them fine-tuned, it really helps. It's like, you know, I'm not even a musician in any sense, but I do know that whatever instrument you have over time goes out of tune, right? With usage, it sort of falls out of tune, and you need these recorrective sessions of tightening up strings, or whatever the case is with, you know, different. Do the wood instruments go out of tune? I don't know. I never played them, but anyways, you know, even with learning all different types of things, you know, it comes into these fine-tuning moments with certain skills that are a part of the knowledge base that you're working to learn. And when we have this instructional base, this sort of truth markers to harken back into, which is what sequential growth offers, you can totally lean back into the architecture and remember where you are, or figure out where you are if you're lost, you know. And so the first thing that I think that I'm going to just talk about briefly will be this. I hope it shows here. I think I'll take a picture of it and also share it, like on the community tab. But it's really basic anyways. You don't really need the visual to understand it, but it helps to see that. So number one is obviously the first thing. It's an initial number one, and it will go through the more foundational qualitative message with the one, but this is more of like the quantitative backbone of what numbers happen with the numbers, and it's really helpful to envision it like this, with the line, the staircase, the spiral, the circling, the lemniscat. And then, you know, once we have this sort of backbone of understanding what the lemniscat is really doing, we can see how it is the toroidal. And when we understand that it is the toroidal happening, then we understand sort of the space and volume of the donut shape that the torus is, right? And we remember, oh yeah, it takes up space. It's 360-degree circle. And then we understand about what the circumference is about, and how the square is inside of it, how all of geometry sits inside of it. And that's 7 of wisdom, right? The connectivity of all of the building blocks finally comes together. We understand about Platonic solids and sacred geometry and things like the tetrahedron, the dodecahedron, and why these kinds of shapes were revered by even ancient metaphysics. You know, these things are symbolically the keys to remembering, oh yeah, this is life. This is how everything grows. We're in a process here. We are a growing process. We're here to do things and make things and be of service, you know. And how do we do that? Oh yeah, we can remember where we are in the structuring, in the instructions. And sometimes it can be quite confusing or chaotic, and you can seem like you're in all stages, or you can't really figure out which stage you'd be in. And in fact, they all sit inside of each other. They are all there at the same time. And so it doesn't matter so much as making which decision, just to make a decision. All decisions are in fact correct. And so no matter which one you make, it is correct. It's correct for the moment and the perspective that you're at, though. This is the most key point, is that we remember where we're at in proximity to the sequences and which ones are balancing in a harmonious way, right? Because it's a multitude of happenings. This is again why I taught systems series, breaking things down into the triad and understanding how energetics moves in this fashion. If you're interested in that and you're new to my channel, or not so new but not as much as that you've been with me in two years of my old channel, that series is on my old channel, originally Amory Speaks. I have 6 levels, maybe 50 videos or so, going on all about the Taurus as a system, as a 3-part system, and understanding the mind, body, spirit as a complex and what's happening, so that you understand how energetics moves. That is, of course, built within this. This, all of this displays each other because truth is compact and truth doesn't change. And so, it has to be multifaceted. It has to be a generic template that is then fractally discovered out to, tailor fit into different sizes and shapes. That's how, that's the mystery joke, the key, the linchpin of it all, I think. So anyways, I'm going to try not to get into every stage and phase like this. I'll try to go through the entire model here, and then I'll get into the stages and phases afterwards. But yeah, so we have the linear one, which is singular line, which is, a 1 A to B point. And this, of course, is the first. It has to be. This is the other thing that I love about sequential growth and about just pointing out truths. It's like they're kind of undeniable and inarguable. Is that a word? Or undebatable. They're not meant to be argued, and they're supposed to be face value simplistic. That's the beauty in it. So 1 turns into 2, which is like the staircase model, and understanding this is like a step up to this step, and then this is a step up to this step, right? And that it's an accumulation or a building. The 3rd I like to see as the spiraling, which is understanding that there's a shift happening. There's some changes happening. That there's some kind of wonky behaviors. It's 3. It's, like I said, I won't try to get into too much of the comparisons because I'll talk about that later, but, it has creativity there. It has a newness there. It has something unexpected between the steps that you didn't see there before. And this is the turnaround. This is the change. This is that, oh yeah, it's a staircase. It's a spiral staircase. It's the unexpected changes that happen. It doesn't change what you thought is going on. It doesn't change the staircase that you think it is. But it adds something new to it that was in between the polar opposites of the 1 and the 2, that are the initial is and is not, is and something else. Then once the spiraling is understood, it comes in 4, which is, we get it going around and around. This is almost a stability build. It's a circumference happening. 4 is the circle. 4 is represented by the circle, and also cycles. What starts to happen with stability in 4, and this starting, now also remember, these are phases built upon each other. Like I said, they're packed inside of each other, yet they're always integrally integrated in this sort of meshing of a grid work that's multidimensional. Each dimension has its own grid working that fits inside of and outside of the ones before and after it. This is, just open yourself up to trying to give room and space for it. Don't try to make sense of it frenetically, because it's not for the mind's boss to understand. It's an integration of mind, body, spirit bosses. Like I talked about the systems triad at the start. They all have an integrated knowledge that works into how these things could and do come together. But you have to learn to let each one speak first in order to really get and be able to start to visualize and sit in this kind of information. Remember it for yourself as it is. So cycles and seasons start to get noticed with the stability of 4 in the 4th phase. And you start to understand quadralities and gradients. And oh yeah, it's not just polar opposites. There's this half and there's that half, and there's in betweens too. You know, there starts to be this different quality of knowledge. 5. Now we have, and I said, brings in the lemniscat. And the lemniscat in itself, 5, is 2 circles together. It's a bit of a chaotic happening. It's like when we see the cell split in the moment of conception. It's that happening. It's that complete second mirrored image. It's like if we could create this sort of open bubble for creator, not the mirror image, because the inverted reflection happens with 6, but it's the creation of the mirrored space, the mirror itself. And so in 5 is also linked with 0, and then we have 1 and 9 sort of holding space for 0 and 5. The gradient of space, like I talked about, between polar opposites, sort of trying to be held together. This sort of, and it's a magnetic electric thing as well. So we have rebuttal and drawing an inertia and rebuttal, or repulsion and inertia happening. Inertial attraction. I forget the exact words for that. The attraction force. And then we have the buffer zone, 0 point, the beautiful energies, all being held sort of together into this. This is the lemniscat, right? So we have this all at the 0 point where the 2 circles sort of meet, and we have the pole flip happening, and it's this middle half. But we do have the 2 loops. The conditions for the secondary loop to happen, it's the boundaries for the secondary loop of the lemniscat. This is why I've chosen 5 for lemniscat shaping as well, because it's typically people think number 8 and think, of that, of course. But this is the rudimentary building of sort of a metaphysical ladder. Climbing the ladder we'll talk about after with the numerical values of each stage and phase, and we'll talk about the figure 8 and 8 after that, at that point. But this is like the very rudimentary architecture. So we have the casting of the secondary loop, sort of the outlining boundaries of what could be of the secondary reflection of 1, 2, 3, and 4 of these stages and phases we built with the circle, and the first foundational building of whatever project you're working on or whatever thing we're making, the idea of it, right? And then we have 5 come in, and then 6 is the torus, the toroidal, understanding, like I've just totally walked you through, that there's an energetic flow happening here, that there's the lemniscat, there's the flipping of the magnetic center, there's energetic collection and polarity. And so then we start to know, oh yeah, it's not just the lemniscat, it's a torus. It's a 360-degree happening of the lemniscat in every angle that you could see, top and bottom and around that whole center point, if you could ever imagine drawing a figure 8 in every single degree, like you try to slice a circle into all degrees, right? That is happening in a whole space. It's that's what the torus is, and that's also, I like to see it as the 6th phase, because it's the perseverance of all of the chaos before. It's when all of the changes and all of the different phases start to come together, and you're like, oh, I kind of get how all of these happenings from proximity, distance, and perspective can all actually showcase the same thing. Because if we think about a torus and the blur of the torus sort of happening, it's easy to see the circle, it's easy to see the aura shape, it's easy to zoom out far from it and see a sparkling star from very far away, right? And then again, we can also try to zoom out and understand how that could just be just a line, just a little tiny just a dot, just a space taken up as the initial one, Now, 7 is the geometrical understandings of it all. It's that mastery knowledge sense to knowing and naming the shapes that are locked within all of this knowledge, seeing how all of this comes to play, and you know, observing, witnessing it, and unlocking and reading the formations, basically, you know. 8 becomes this sort of never-ending, ever-changing, yet always the sameness. Now 8 becomes the 8 and 9 I see for now as not physical. They are containers. They are overall structuring in this sort of thing. 8 would be like if we were talking about the architecture of a ladder being built here. 8 would be where we're building the ladder in, the space around, the holes in the rungs, you know, all of it that you can see and do with the ladder, the space in the void held, the understanding that there's a ladder in separateness, and all of the things that come together with the ever-changing, never-changing present moment of it all, the karmatic infinity of it all is what gets represented as 8 here. It's intangible. It's an understanding. It's the metaphysical soup of the ether that holds it all, sort of, and the cognitive consciousness that can design it even becomes 8. And 9 becomes, you know, the seal deal, the fact that it made a ladder. The bow on top, the seal of the deal. 1 and 9 are always very similar in their selves. I put outer and inner boundary. One sight, one mind contains one outer and inner boundary, and I put like a little eye next to it. I had turned the 8 into the hourglass, sort of crappily doodles, and an eye as the 9, because those are sort of, you know, the choice of observation over time for creator consciousness to discern a thing is the 8 in the hourglass and the whole construction of the thing. Sorry, my light's getting bad again. And 9 is the outside as being. It's the creator consciousness. It's the knowing that we did that. And that thing. It is that thing. You know, so that's the model through the octaves that I call sequential growth, and what I see as the metaphysical building blocks that things grow through. I'm going to make another video about the growth, and I'll give a little brief showcase here. I'm just going to go through sort of how things grow and change, and how we can use the numbers as a guideline to gauge where we're going through, to measure where we're at. I'm also going to put out a video, it might be video podcast, brainstorm session, sort of, about intentional measurement and what organic time measurement, observation of organic time looks like, to be a witness and to be a part of the present moment in the observation of time, versus inorganic, restricted time measurements, control mechanisms, and all of those kinds of strict strongholds that we sort of showcase as time. And I think understanding the line in between it, and the fact that there is a line in between it, will really help us to understand when people are manipulating in a self-serving manner time and measurement, truth, and service, and all these other things, you know. And also if we're doing it ourselves, you know, it helps you to get out of that. It helps you to understand when we want to dial back and look for incorrect issues or problems, you know, if you want to help troubleshoot, if there's problems to be had, you know, having organic understanding about the stages and phases, and the strong quality and skill that it is of observation comes first, to witnessing those things as they are, accepting things, and then through that you're able to see clearly the mistakes, you know. And so I think, you know, like I've said, it helps us to pull back. It helps us to find clarity, and to root out those problems more clearly, and to provide better solutions. And like, who doesn't want to do that? Isn't that what we want to do? It comes to find out that lots of things don't want to do that. That's, you know, and I'll talk about more on that probably when I go into the light shadow work aspect of measurement and how we have control over what we view as time measurement, what constraints we choose to put upon ourselves or don't, you know, what freedom we choose to give ourselves, or what slavery we bind ourselves down into. So yeah, gonna leave it there because it's been long enough. Thanks for so much for listening to me here today speak just briefly about an introduction to numbers and sequential growth, and to the importance of understanding what sequences are happening here. If you are interested in anything else, I'll try to link some descriptions down below on things I've talked about before. If you want the PDF, feel free to send me an email or go over to my website, amariespeaks.com, and go to the contact page. There's a little form. You could just put in PDF, please, numbers PDF. It sends an email right to me, and I'll send it to you for free. Thanks for taking interest. Thanks for listening. I hope I'll see you on the next round, where, like I said, I'll go into this first point of view, which I call the linear model, and understanding how we use sort of like a measuring stick model to view things, and how we can watch that number line grow and change through each of the shapes and forms that I brought through here in this initial video. So thank you for joining me. Hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful day or evening wherever in the world you are. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your contribution to the collective. I'll see you next time.